Adept loot is finally back in Nightfalls during season of the Splicer with the return of Grandmasters. This guide is going to be ideal for new or returning players looking to dip their toes into GMs for the first time, as well as long-time players who want an all-in-one summary of the best mods and gear to load up with for a successful Grandmaster run. For this season's GM rewards, we've got the Plug One fusion rifle, the fabled Hung Jury scout rifle, and the Uzume sniper rifle, as well as the returning season of the chosen Nightfall rewards of the Palindrome, the Swarm, and Shadow Price. These rewards will all get the Adept treatment on a rotating weekly basis, starting with the Plug One and ending with the season of the chosen rewards bundled together in the 4th week. These Adept weapons will allow you to place Adept mods on them, as well as boosting all stats by +2 when fully masterworked. The Adept Palindrome is hands down my favourite in the game right now, and I'm definitely looking forward to getting my hands on the new Adept rewards this season. And that's why I'm here to help you get yours with some quick builds and handy tips to make the challenging Grandmasters an absolute cakewalk. Each season brings a bunch of brand new mods, and so that's where we're starting, looking at a basic mod setup to set you up for any Grandmaster. We can't literally start anywhere else this season than with the Breach and Clear mod from the seasonal artifact. If you aren't already using this, then what have you been doing? This mod adds a 30% debuff to bosses, champions and shielded enemies damaged by a grenade launcher. Given that Grandmasters are full of all of these type of enemies, you'll be using it all of the time. It's going to make damage phases stupidly easier to deal with, especially when paired with old favourites like the Well of Radiance and Titan Bubbles. Unfortunately, it costs 9 energy on your class item, and so it doesn't give us much leeway for other mods there either, with either a stat mod, elemental light or global reach being the best choice depending on your loadout preferences. The next set of must-have mods is 100% a protective light setup. This grants you a huge damage reduction when your shields break and can be the difference between life and death. You'll want to use the Taking Charge mod as well as Supercharge to get a 4x stack of charge with light to get the most out of this one, to be honest. This leaves you with space for literally one other combat style mod, and there's a bunch to choose from too. I definitely lean into the ever faithful Charge with Light option of High Energy Fire for a small damage boost when charged with light. Warmind's Protection or the Power of Rasputin are top shouts for Warmind cell builds, and lastly, a few of the new Elemental Well mods could be usable too. Reaping Wellmaker will create Void Wells on kills after using your class ability, and Explosive Wellmaker will create wells on any explosive damage kill. These will help with your ability cooldowns when collected, and although you don't want to be running head on to go and collect one every single time, they can come in handy as you move through encounters to recharge your abilities. Concussive Dampener and Sniper Resist are definitely the best mods for your chest armor to use, as these will add a 25% damage reduction from area of effect and ranged attacks. These stack with Protective Light too, boosting your ability to survive. Finally, you'll want to spec into Recovery a bare minimum stats wise, as well as whichever stats affect your class ability. High Resilience will also not be a bad shout too. Rounding out the mods, Scavenger and Finder mods relating to your special and heavy weapons will be the best choice. Grenade Launcher Scavenger is in the artifact, and if you're using Breach and Clear, it's definitely a no-brainer. Next, let's go through some weapon choices to consider for this season, covering off on options that will allow you to use the anti-champion mods to their best effect. All you need is Anarchy, to be honest though. Not only is it amazing for DPS, but it'll also constantly proc Breach and Clear, as well as the Unstoppable Champion Grenade Launcher mod. Arguably, you don't even need all 3 players in a Fireteam to be using it, but given how broken it is right now this season with these mods, you'd be stupid not to. Alternatively, Salvager's Salvo, Truth Teller, Empty Vessel or Ignition Code will work with the same mod combo too. This will cover all elemental shields too, and I definitely recommend double grenade launchers for any Grandmaster this season, especially when combined with Anarchy. Anti-barrier champion wise, you've got a choice of auto rifles or scout rifles, and I'm going to stick with kinetic options here to complement the double grenade launcher build. Chroma Rush is the play for auto rifles. It has top tier range despite its high rate of fire, and even a bad roll will set you straight in GMs. The 7th Seraph Carbine will work for Warmind cell builds too. As for scout rifles, Hung Jury if you've got one will be fine, as will the Night Watch, which drops like candy these days, to be honest. Overload mods will give us a choice of either SMGs or hand cannons. Extraordinary Rendition is the best SMG, but I wouldn't recommend using SMGs for Grandmasters, so you'll want to use a hand cannon. Steady Hand will give you the best range to be honest, but even Survivor's Epitaph can work as well. If you've ventured into the Vault of Glass and managed to bag any sort of Fatebringer role, then this one will be a must have, especially if you've got one with explosive payload, because the explosive rounds don't have any damage fall off, so you'll be able to use it in any situation. Now we're moving on to subclass choices and exotic armour that you should be pairing with them. Titans with the Ursa Furiosa exotics are pretty much a bare essential when it comes to tackling Grandmaster content. When paired with the Sentinel Code of the Commander, you can block incoming damage and protect your teammates, whilst providing them with the Weapons of Light damage buff. In certain situations you can get your super back instantly, but you can also juggle this with even one or even two other Titans to take control of an encounter with very little effort. The Void Explosions from the Controlled Demolition perk will help for close quarters when you need to melee enemies, and also when using the Suppression Grenade. If you're serious about completing any Grandmaster, you'll definitely need a Titan in your life. Alternatively, Thundercrash Titans with Code of the Missile can be a fun choice, especially when paired with the exotic Cuirass of the Fallen Star. This is more focused at one-shotting champions and clearing bunches of annoying adds in one shot, but can definitely work well in a well-oiled Fireteam. Warlocks will want the old faithful Well of Radiance combined with Phoenix Protocol. With this subclass equipped, you can get infinite rifts and grenade thanks to Benevolent Dawn, and during most encounters you'll get back-to-back supers very easily. You can pair this perfectly with the Ursa Furiosa Titans, and just make sure you don't overlap your supers and the Titan stands just outside the well so you can both create orbs. A well won't allow you to tank incoming damage, so having an Ursa Titan up front will be very beneficial. Chaos Reach with Geomags can be another great option for mass ad clear. The rate at which you'll get your Chaos Reach super with the cancellation ability, as well as the rapid super cooldown offered by this combo, can be excellent to back up your Fireteam and create space in a matter of seconds. Looking at the best hunter setup, Top Tree Tether with Orpheus Rigs is still a really strong option, as it will pair really nicely with a combined Warlock and Titan using Well and Ursas, shutting down a large group of enemies in an instant. Alternatively, Omnioculus with the Bottom Tree Tether will add to your Fireteam's ability to survive. Stasis is still really strong in PvE content, and is always massively underrated. A Revenant Hunter using Star Eater scales will absolutely destroy a large area of enemies, and is one of my favourite builds to use this season. Shadebinder Bleak Watcher turrets are just going to be amazing at controlling an area too. Behemoths don't have a ton of usability at the moment in PvE, but even utilising their ability to create mass cover through Glacier Grenades and the Howl of the Storm can work. Any of the harvest aspects will be worth using for a base aspect setup across all classes, as they fit in with a ton of fragments to boost survivability. As a base fragment setup for any stasis build for me, this would include the Whisper of Torment for increased grenade energy when taking incoming damage, Whisper of Conduction to allow stasis shards to track you, and with the Whisper of Rhyme equipped, these will grant you an overshield for a brief moment of time too. Whisper of Impetus is top tier, especially on Revenant Hunters reloading weapons and boosting handling for a short time on melee hits. Whisper of Chains will work instead to grant a damage reduction when near friendly stasis crystals or frozen enemies. If you're serious about gilding the Conqueror seal this season, you'll need to get a completion using each subclass type, so having a good stasis build will make it easier. In most cases, I'd argue that using stasis would be more forgiving than using any of the light subclass counterparts due to its excellent ability for defensive crowd control from the constant slowing and freezing you're able to dish out. Ultimately, it's all about having coordination with your Fireteam. Chaining abilities and supers is going to make completing any of these Grandmasters an absolute cakewalk. Thanks to the champion mods available this season, you've got a ton of range to use to deal with them, so make sure you keep your distance and use cover to chip away progressively as you move through the Nightfalls. I don't believe any of the Nightfalls in this rotation are too tough to complete either, with maybe the Glassway Strike on Europa being the most difficult, but even that won't take you too long as you play with your Fireteam. I hope that this guide gave you everything you need to go and get yourself some Adept loot. Honestly, the Adept weapons are the best feeling in the game, and I think this season rewards are going to be up there with the best. I'm particularly looking forward to getting an Adept version of the Uzume sniper rifle, and I'll be grinding my heart out for a good roll. Are you going to be jumping into the GMs this season, and which reward are you looking forward to the most? Let me know down in the comments. We've got some big changes coming here on the channel with the content I produce in the near future, so please stay tuned for that and subscribe if you're new so you don't miss out. Liking this video will feed the ultimate raid boss, the YouTube algorithm, so please go ahead and do it. Also, join the Discord server to chat more about builds and everything Destiny, the link is down in the description. That's it for this one though, so on that and as always, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.